What's up, everyone? Silas back again. And it's been a minute since I've uploaded. Been probably a few days. And I just want to talk to everyone tonight about the importance of speaking the truth. What the truth is in our own hearts and in our own minds, and not being afraid to truly express what we really think, even if it may have a negative effect and a ripple effect. I think true honesty is something that is important, so we can really not be afraid to put ourselves out there, to put ourselves in a forward-facing position to face our own opinions and to face scrutiny for those opinions. Because when we don't speak the truth and we hold back, oftentimes that can have a detrimental effect on our own health, because we are sacrificing our own truth, and we're sacrificing our own mental health to keep someone else happy. There's more to lying than just lying to somebody. You can lie to yourself too. You can lie to yourself about what you do, about your habits, about your own thoughts, just to convince yourself of a reality that might not actually be true. And that's something that I've come to realize for a long time. And I've recently became completely sober. And something that I realized is that I was lying to myself, thinking that it was okay to be under the influence all the time, when I didn't really take any accountability for how it was actually really affecting me, negatively and positively. I can say that it did give me a sense of relief, but at the same time, it put me in a position where I wasn't elevating. I wasn't getting anywhere in life. And that was the thing, is I was lying to myself to keep myself in that position. And I think a lot of people do it too. I think we're all probably a little guilty of it in one way or another, that, we sometimes aren't honest with ourselves and what the reality is. We know in our heart of hearts what the real truth is, but we shove that aside until it is oftentimes too late with a lot of things, whether that be with tragedy in like losing family, or if that be with, waiting until the last minute to do something, or, not being honest and when you should get up to go to work during the day. Like, just simple things all the way up to the most elaborate life choices. And so I think that it's really, really important that we take a step back and self-reflect on what our own truths are, and what we actually believe, and what we actually stand for. Because if we don't, we can just get lost in our own lies and telling ourselves something that we don't actually want to do, or, and telling ourselves that this is the life that we want to live, when it's not the life that we want to be living at all. And I think we just kind of get lost in not only lying to ourselves, but lying to keep other people happy, lying to fulfill other people's expectations when they aren't able to fulfill them themselves, to be someone else's crutch, or to even be your own crutch. Like for me, for example, like I was just talking about, I'm just recently got completely sober, just off cannabis, and I was using it as a crutch for such a long time that it really put me in a negative mind state and a negative position. Being truthful with ourselves is really invaluable, and being honest with how we're really feeling, and identifying what our own vices may be, because I feel like a lot of the times our not just us as individuals, but maybe our society kind of glorifies doing things that are inherently negative, but we know in our hearts just aren't good for us. So we lie to ourselves, telling ourselves that it's okay. Because it's this idea that, like, you know, if someone else is doing it, then maybe it's a good idea. And I've talked about this in a couple other videos too, but it all kind of stems together, you know. So there's really no other way to go about it. You know, we can lie to ourselves as much as we want, but we know the truth in our hearts, how we're really feeling, how other people respect us, how other people treat us. We know our own limits. And when those limits get crossed and boundaries get crossed, we oftentimes get in a state of detriment. We get into a state of being overwhelmed. We get into a state of not wanting to deal with being, you know, alive. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's such a snowball effect, you know. It's a small thing at first, but then it turns into this big snowball effect, and people keep piling on lies, and they keep lying to themselves into a bigger and bigger snowball effect until it gets to this point where it can't be stopped. It's like an avalanche of emotion, and an avalanche of, like, self-pity and hate towards others and towards just pure anger. It's like being a rageaholic, you know. You don't want to be in that situation. And so the key is to not be afraid to be honest with people, and not being afraid to really hurt other people's feelings to save your own. Because if you don't save your own emotions, that negativity will build up, and then it will just get pawned onto someone else. And then it's a cycle where it's like a chain, you know. That energy doesn't go anywhere. It just gets transferred from person to person. So you have negative energy, and then they aren't able to expunge it through being honest with themselves, or being able to expunge it through healthy habits or just a healthy lifestyle. So they pawn it onto the next person, and then that person has to deal with it, and then they pawn it onto the next person. It's like emotional neediness or codependency. It is very unhealthy, and it's not being able to identify with how you're actually feeling. It's putting the emotions on someone else, and that's not another person's responsibility. That is your responsibility as an individual, in my opinion. So I guess that's really all I got to say about it. You know, I might make another video on this here soon. I've been really lacking in the YouTube realm, but I'm gonna start getting back into it and start cranking out more videos pretty here soon. I'm feeling motivated again. I'm a little mentally tired lately, but I think that's just because it's the winter time, and it's a little tiresome here in the 802 region. So, anyways, I love y'all. Take it easy. Have a good night.